Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very beautiful day in Brisbane. It is a little bit cloudy today, but nevertheless, there is still pleasant weather right here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what do we have for you in this segment? We have for you the daily news update plus the daily India report. Well, let's get straight into it. First of all, Queensland. What are we looking at? The emergency weather warning.
Flooding rains continue to pound the state's north, turning the countryside into raging rapids.
There's our car stuck in there somewhere.
Giving residents water views.
Well, it just broke over our banks.
The deluge and the debris have cut supply lines, with 357 millimetres falling at Finch Hatton, west of Mackay.
Last night, none of our deliveries could get through, but we're hoping today that they'll be back on track, so now the roads are open.
Some places, particularly in that inland area of Mackay, have now seen in excess of 1 metre of rainfall in the past 7 days. Indeed, a lot of that falling in the past 5 days, so certainly a very significant rainfall event for that part of the world.
Further north in Bowen, more than 100 travellers are waiting it out at the PCYC.
So this is sort of what people are sleeping on. I think everybody's relatively all right.
Roads here are cut too. Patience is running thin.
I spent 2 nights down at the local caravan park and I was hoping to get away this morning, but I've been sitting here since 5:30.
We are staying positive every day, waking up and feeling, okay, today is the day.
In Proserpine, the rain's been providing amusement for youngsters.
The rain has eased off, that's for sure, but we're still in a severe weather warning.
A croc lurking in floodwaters, a stark reminder to steer clear. There are empty supermarket shelves in Mackay, but locals are counting their blessings.
Probably haven't seen rain like this for several years, in such a just a heavy, consistent downpour for so many days.
It looks pretty safe at the moment. Still got a couple of metres to go.
Authorities were preparing for flooding in Mackay this morning, but the city has dodged the worst of the weather. The BOM is still warning of life-threatening flash flooding across central and north Queensland, with hundreds of mils of rainfall expected again tonight. In the flood-isolated community of Youngalla, some good news. A baby born to proud parents.
Very relieved now that she's here.
A dramatic start to life. Toby Jers-Lewis, ABC.
Well, such is life, as they say, and welcome to the young one out in the world in this stormy weather. Well, of course, we know that the changing weather patterns throughout the world, Mother Nature has its own way as well. Do what you may, bring out as many laws as you can, put as many taxes as you can, but, Mother Nature has its own way. So if it just keeps raining and things like that, you can't control that. All you can do is best deal with it, know how to deal with the situation is what it can do rather than all going up in arms. I saw one report this morning and I couldn't get my hands on that. That was just amazing. Where the person outburst, I said, look, if this is going to happen, this is going to happen. My fence is washed away, so it has washed away. We will just put a new one. We need to expect that. But the reporter was trying to say that, asking him to say that he is in big trouble. This is going to be huge. What are they going to do? But he refused to say all that. And he just stuck to his view that it is one of those things that's going to happen. We are in Queensland. If it's raining and if there's flood, we're going to deal with it. Well, right now, let's go to New South Wales. Well, Labor is promising to help good drivers set demerit points. Would you agree with that? Or should it be a uniform law for everyone?
A reward in hand for well-behaved drivers.
If you do the right thing, if you abide by the road rules for a 12-month period, 1 point will be put back on your licence.
It currently takes 3 years for demerit points to disappear. Labor's policy means drivers who remain fine-free for a year will have 1 demerit point wiped.
If this trial goes well, it will lift driving behaviour right across New South Wales.
Reaffirming a budget election promise for IVF treatment, Matt Keane argues Labor's incentive won't make roads safer.
I understand that 2/3 of speeding drivers involved in a crash that kills or injures someone are travelling less than 10 kilometres over the speed limit.
As Chris Minns moves full speed ahead with his election promises, the campaign has hit a roadblock, with Manly candidate Caroline Yarnell abruptly withdrawing.
I intend to have a conversation with her. Obviously, we don't like to lose candidates, particularly weeks out before election campaigns.
She says they've since spoken and she'll be using Labor's internal complaints procedures and staying quiet for now. The government too is staying tight-lipped on its gambling policy.
The Premier will have something to announce on that very shortly, but what we will see is cashless gaming across New South Wales.
A move that still needs Cabinet approval.
The technology on the machines in regional and rural New South Wales is quite different to those in metropolitan areas. So I'm going to make sure that we don't see jobs being lost in the regions.
Labor's pitch will see cashless gaming cards trialled on 500 out of the state's more than 90,000 pokie machines.
There won't be a daily limit, but we will charge the independent panel with the expertise to look at that.
The representatives would advise the Labor government on its next move. Rani Hayman, ABC News, Sydney.
Next move is yours, as they reckon. Well, of course, it is going to be a good point, but overall we'll have to see and make sure that it's uniform and that the offenders don't come back with that. Right now, going to GPs, well, this is another area where we have battled with it for a long time. People go to a GP and I think it should be mandatory that all of the GPs just bulk bill. So if you've got a Medicare card, if you are eligible, if you go in, you don't have to go fork out cash or go to an ATM or pay money, and the difference should just be what you pay. But what is the difference? That out-of-pocket cost to see a GP is getting greater and greater. And these days, the irony of the matter is, when do you go to a doctor? When do you go to see a GP? It is when you are sick. And when you need the doctor. And these days, if you go to any doctor's surgery, any doctor's clinic, you will see written on the door, if you ever got cough or cold or you are sick, please do not come. Well, when do you come then?
Relax your arm. A visit to the doctor isn't always painless.
Not that bad.
No, didn't do that much. And for many, it's now hurting the hip pocket more than ever.
It is becoming increasingly difficult for practices to remain open and charge patients just the bulk billing rate.
The bulk billing rate has fallen sharply from nearly 90% in late 2021 to just 83.4% in the September quarter last year. 10 years ago, the average out-of-pocket cost for a GP consult was $28.12. Since then, it has jumped more than 50% to $42.77.
For the first time this year, the out-of-pocket cost on average is more than the Medicare rebate, so patients are getting less than half of the cost of their visit back.
Come on through and grab a seat. As costs to see GPs rise, more pressure is falling on stretched public hospitals. Doctors argue more money will help.
There needs to be an increase in the rebate. We've called for a tripling of the bulk billing incentive, and this is to enable general practice to continue bulk billing those vulnerable patients.
But others say it's not a matter of money, and that bigger structural changes to the entire system are needed.
There's lots of things that should happen. One is to change the funding model, so GPs aren't paid to churn through patients as fast as possible, and they're paid more for dealing with the patients that need more complex care.
The federal government made strengthening Medicare an election pledge.
We are putting $750 million into the primary healthcare system over just 3 years.
The government shouldn't just tip more money into a system that is basically breaking.
Pressure to address some of the challenges within Medicare has been building for years, but it looks set to come to a head within weeks. The states and territories are eager to discuss ideas when National Cabinet meets in just over a fortnight. But there are warnings the solutions won't be quick, easy or cheap. Tom Lowry.
No way, the solutions aren't quick, easy or cheap. Everything costs money and takes time. And of course, there's tons of paperwork, regulations, all that need to be handled. Well, how do you handle technology these days? Are we using it to our advantage? Is it making people smarter? Well, people can get a lot more done less time than what it used to take before, but is it making people smarter? I don't think so. Remember the days when you had to remember all your times tables, multiplication, and all those things. You had to do the calculation in your mind. Now kids don't. They say, I forgot. They need a calculator. But this AI, meaning the artificial intelligence, is a technology that is also being used to cheat in universities. Here's the report.
So we've heard a recent story of a lecturer who found or believes that 1/5 of the essays that were submitted in a summer school assessment were actually had large elements of AI in them. How common do you think this is going to be?
It's hard to say at the moment because we don't have great data, but we expect that, as with other forms of cheating, it's going to get more common. We know people cheat in a variety of ways.
So how do we try to stop that, or is the genie well and truly out of the bottle here, Philip?
I think it's an interesting question, sort of, do we stop it? People are likely to use these sorts of tools in their day-to-day jobs in the future, and do we want to deny them that?
I guess the question is, should this come at the risk of creative thought when it comes to writing essays, for instance, at universities?
Yeah, and people certainly need that capability to do that creative thought. How these tools play a role in that is kind of interesting.
So you're saying it's not out-and-out cheating necessarily?
Well, I think when we use sources or tools, we need to say that we've used them. So, my advice to students would be to, if you use ChatGPT, for instance, to say, this part was done by ChatGPT.
Right, but not every student's going to say that or use this. I mean, I love what you're saying, but use this honesty system, are they?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's a big challenge. What do we do to try and ensure that students are capable of the things we say they are, with or without those tools?
But again, going back to my earlier question, being at university involves, your ideas being challenged, your ability, or working on an ability to prosecute arguments which you don't get. Typing in keywords to a chatbot and having the computer do that for you.
Yeah. So it may not be that we continue to always set these assignments that can be done by ChatGPT.
Okay, so other forms of assessments.
Yeah, we might sit down and have a chat, like we're doing now. You're challenging me on my ideas and we're engaging.
I suppose that one of the biggest concerns is, cheating where people are basically faking that they have knowledge. So there was this story that came out last week where ChatGPT was found to almost pass American medical exams. I mean, that is just nothing short of out and out scary, and surely that is cheating.
Yeah. If you get ChatGPT to accredit you as a doctor, definitely cheating. And it may be that they need to question the way that they set that exam. It may be they can raise the standard beyond what it used to be, if that's what people can do with bots now.
Have you had a go at ChatGPT, for instance, in your daily work?
Yes, look, I certainly have, and I use it, I think, for good. When I've got a difficult problem, I'll ask ChatGPT for some advice. How can I tackle this?
What sort of problems or advice? What advice does ChatGPT give you?
So when I'm, say, having difficulty writing an abstract for a conference, I'll say, ChatGPT, write me an abstract on this. And I'm not going to just submit that as I go, but I am going to look at it and say, oh, I hadn't thought of doing it that way.
What do you think? You reckon it's plain out cheating, call it for what it is? Or is it something that people are going to be using in the daily life, so it's okay to use? We never know that, do we? Well, right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go to our daily India report.
Welcome to the Daily India Report that brings you reports, interviews, features and more on India and the Indian diaspora. The Bharatiya Janata Party has started preparations for the Lok Sabha elections to be held in 2024 and is all eyeing to win all 9 assembly polls scheduled in 2023. Prime Minister Narendra Modi led Bharatiya Janata Party's two-day national executive meeting began on January 16th to discuss the party's strategy for the upcoming assembly and 2024 general elections. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held a roadshow prior to the start of the meeting at the NDMC Convention Centre in New Delhi. A few cultural performances were held along the roadside as he passed through. The National Executive meeting was attended by numerous high-ranking officials, including Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, Railways Minister Ashwani Vaishnaw, BJP President JP Nadda, and Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, 35 union ministers, 12 chief ministers, 37 regional heads, and 350 party workers joined the Prime Minister in the National Executive. Nadda met with state in charges and co-in charges from all over the country before the meeting. In addition, he opened an exhibit at the Convention Centre with a variety of themes. An exhibition that was put on by the BJP at the location of its National Executive meeting, which got underway, focused on cultural nationalism as well as the ongoing construction of a Ram temple in Ayodhya. BJP President JP Nadda said that the 9 state assembly elections scheduled for this year are crucial in the run-up to the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. He also asked the party's national executive to make sure it does not lose any states. In order to guarantee that it will return to power at the centre in 2024 for a third term, the ruling party has been carrying out a number of activities to strengthen its organizational structure. The party president stated that the daily highway construction has increased from 12 kilometers to 37 kilometers, making India the world's 5th largest economy, 2nd largest mobile phone manufacturer, and 3rd largest auto manufacturer. Well, after persistent efforts by India, China has been forced to remove its technical hold, resulting in the UN Security Council designating Pakistan-based deputy leader of terror outfit Lashkar-e-Toiba Abdul Rahman Makki as a global terrorist. With India getting 14 out of 15 members of the UN Security Council on its side, China has been forced to give up the technical hold on the designation of Lahore-based Lashkar-e-Toiba's deputy chief Abdul Rahman Makki as a global terrorist by the 1267 UN Sanctions Committee. Makki, brother-in-law of designated terrorist and LAT chief Hafiz Saeed, used to raise funds from the Middle East for the terror group under the garb of being head of the Foreign Relations Committee. The US Justice Department had put a bounty of USD 2 million on Makki's head in November 2010. China was isolated in the UNSC over Makki as India made it clear that it would continue raising the listing of the Lashkar terrorist and the role played by China in providing cover to Pakistan-based groups till its objective was achieved. China, as a permanent UNSC member, had put a technical hold on listing Makki as a global terrorist in the 1267 committee in July 2022. India also wants 2611 killer Sajid Mir of LET to be listed as a global terrorist by the same committee. Over the years, China has virtually worked as an agent of Pakistan in the UNSC by blocking efforts made by the Narendra Modi government with its allies US and France to get Pakistan-based terrorists like Hafiz Saeed, Jaish-e-Mohammed Masood Azhar and his brother Rauf Azhar listed as global terrorists by the ISIS and Al-Qaeda Sanctions Committee. India Drug Regulatory Body DCGI has approved Serum Institute of India's COVID-19 vaccine Covovax as a heterologous booster dose for adults. The Drug Controller General of India has approved market authorization to Serum Institute of India's COVID-19 vaccine Covovax as a heterologous booster dose for adults. It said that Covovax can be used as a heterologous booster dose for adults who have been administered 2 doses of Covishield or Covaxin. The DCGI's approval came following recommendation by the Subject Expert Committee of the Central Drug Standard Control Organization. It also comes at a time when a total of 26 cases of COVID's XBB 1.5 has been found in India so far, INSACOG data showed on January 16. The variant has been in 11 states and union territories till now, including Delhi, Maharashtra and West Bengal. Well, amid growing concern of COVID transmission, the Kerala government has made wearing mask compulsory in public places. The Indian state of Kerala has made wearing mask compulsory in public places. A government order issued in this regard said the wearing of mask in public places will come into force with immediate effect. The State Health Department issued the order under the Epidemic Diseases Act for a period of 1 month. Although the state government has given no reason behind its decision to make wearing masks compulsory, it is believed that the rising cases of new COVID-19 variants elsewhere in the world and increasing influenza across the state would have prompted the government to resort to such a step. The government order said that the use of sanitizers has also been made compulsory in all shops, offices, theatres and other places where people gather. It is also directed to ensure social distancing in all public places. Amid weak global demand and inflation measures in foreign countries, India's merchandise exports fell around 12% in the month of December in 2022. Despite ringing in big numbers in its exports, India's merchandise exports fell around 12% to $34.48 billion year-on-year in December 2022 from $39.27 billion recorded in the same month of 2021. Imports too dropped by 3.46% to $58.24 billion in December 2022 as against $60.33 billion reported in the same month of the previous year, keeping the trade deficit steady at $23.76 billion for the month when compared year-on-year. In November 2022, merchandise imports stood at $55.88 billion. During April to December of the ongoing fiscal, overall exports rose by 9% to $332.76 billion. Imports during this 9-month period moved up by 24.96% to $551.7 billion. Weak global demand amid a high interest rate regime to tackle high inflation has led to economists predicting a gloomy 2023 for India, while challenging external factors are expected to weigh on India's growth. In a statement issued last month, the Commerce Ministry said the global economy poses tremendous challenges as it continues to navigate an increasingly turbulent and uncertain environment. Equity benchmark Sensex opened in green on January 17th as it gained more than 400 points in the mid-morning deals. Indian equity benchmarks BSE Sensex and NSE Nifty climbed in initial trade on January 17th amid buying in index majors Reliance Industries and HDFC Twins. Equity indices, which began the day's trade on a muted note, were quick to move higher. The S&P BSE Sensex advanced over 400 points after a flat start to 60,500 levels in mid-morning deals, while the broader Nifty 50 stayed reclaimed the 18,000 mark. From the Sensex pack, Hindustan Unilever, HCL Technologies, Larsen & Toubro, NTPC, Tata Motors, Ultratech Cement, Asian Paints, Reliance Industries, ITC, HDFC, HDFC Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank were the prominent gainers. Bajaj Finance, IndusInd Bank, Tata Steel, Mahindra & Mahindra and ICICI Bank were among the laggards. Shares of Reliance Industries and ONGC gained up to 0.85%. In Asia markets, equity markets in Tokyo quoted in the green, while Seoul, Shanghai and Hong Kong traded lower. Markets in the US were shut on January 16th on account of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The 30-share BSE benchmark had declined 168.21 points or 0.28% to settle at 60,092.97 on January 16th. The Nifty had dipped 61.75 points or 0.34% to end at 17,894.85. Foreign institutional investors had offloaded shares worth 750.59 crore rupees on January 16th. The first beautiful song from the film Shehzada titled Munda Sona Hoon Main has been released. The party number is sung by Diljit Dosanjh and Nikita Gandhi. After the trailer of Kartik Aaryan and Kriti Sanon's film Shehzada garnered hype among the fans, the producers have now released the first song of the film. Titled Munda Sona Hoon Main, it is sung by the melodious voices of singers Diljit Dosanjh and Nikita Gandhi. The music for this song is provided by the legendary musician Pritam, and the lyrics for this beautiful song were written by the versatile lyricist Kumar. The song gives an atmosphere of a beach party with Kartik and Kirti dancing to the tunes of Pritam's music. The performance of Kartik Aaryan and Kriti Sanon in the song is very energetic. The song is choreographed by Bosco Caesar. Directed by Rohit Dhawan, Shehzada is a remake of an Allu Arjun and Pooja Hegde starrer Telugu film titled Ala Vaikunthappu Ramalu. Kartik Aaryan and Kirti Sanon are in the lead roles in the film Shehzada. Shehzada will release on February 10th. Well, that's all for this bulletin of the Daily India Report.
Thank you very much, and wonderful reporting there, Chandrakala Chaudhary, and you're doing a wonderful job. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all we have for you in this segment. Don't forget that at 10 a.m. we have the weekly real estate update with Usha Chandra coming up as well. So it's been wonderful having your company as usual, and we'd love to see you back at the real estate segment today with Usha Chandra. Until then, it's goodbye from us.